Episode 1. He Rides Again. The show opens up with a hit being made on a defense lawyer named Jerry Vincent. The next day, Mickey Holler receives a call from his ex-wife and his assistant, Lorna, who tells Mickey that he is being given all of Jerry's cases that he was working on, and Mickey has been out of practice for a year due to an opioid addiction. But this is his opportunity to get back in the game. We also learn that Mickey has another ex-wife, Maggie, and a daughter together named Haley. Mickey Holler is known as the Lincoln lawyer around LA because he likes to do his work out of his Lincoln Navigator and Lincoln Continental vehicles. The judge tells Mickey all of Jerry Vincent's work has been passed on to him, including his whole practice, and Mickey is stunned. The Big Daddy case he is being given is the Trevor Elliott case, who is a young tech entrepreneur who is being accused of killing his wife and her lover out of jealousy. Mickey knows if he can win this high-profile case for Trevor, he could be back up at the top of the LA lawyer scene. Mickey already thinks he is the best lawyer in the city, just went through a rough patch in his life after a surfing accident that led him to painkillers. Now with a new practice, Mickey hires some of his old colleagues. Obviously Lorna, ex-wife number 1, will be his assistant. He's going to hire Lorna's current boyfriend Cisco as his private investigator, and Izzy, a girl he is representing in court, is given the job of his around-the-clock driver. Mickey goes to meet with Trevor Elliott on his rooftop basketball court, and Trevor claims he is innocent, and Mickey doesn't ask if he is or not, but he needs to know all of the truth to win this case, guilty or not. No surprises. Griggs, one of the big shot detectives, tells Mickey that there was something big going on with Jerry, and that is why he was murdered. Jerry had some dirt on someone, and he is going to figure out what it is. He just needs Jerry's laptop, but Mickey doesn't know where it is. Griggs warns Mickey to be careful. Mickey heads to the crime scene to check out Elliott's story and if his version is consistent or not. Trevor says he was working hard one day on a new game and went outside to find his wife and her lover dead. Mickey believes Trevor and tells him he can get a not guilty verdict, and the episode ends with someone following Mickey after he leaves Trevor's. Episode 2. The Magic Bullet. The episode begins with Izzy getting away safely from the car from the last episode. Mickey goes to court the next day to defend a client, Terrell Coleman, and asks for a continuance, and then after that, Mickey talks to the judge and tells him he thinks his life is in danger by the same person that killed Jerry. The judge points him in the direction of the LAPD. Cisco and Lorna start doing some deep dive research into finding out who wanted Jerry dead, and they keep seeing weird behavior, including some huge salary advances to personal accounts, and he was holding ballistics evidence from the police for some clients. Mickey meets with Griggs, and they both give each other information, including the files Griggs wanted, and Griggs telling Mickey everything he knows about Jerry, including Jerry was sleeping with a married woman and thinks her rap sheet husband may have found out. Mickey picks up his daughter from school, and she wants to see him in the zone in court, so Mickey brings her along to defend Terrell Coleman. Mickey works his magic and gets all charges dropped because he argued there was police negligence going on and the police had no comment on the matter. Later that night, Lorna discovers that Jerry printed a motion for continuance in the Elliott case, but it was never filed. When Mickey brings up the idea of a continuance to Trevor, he is against it and doesn't want to put off the trial any longer as he signed a new deal for his company and doesn't want to delay it, and the deal can't be done until he is declared not guilty. Mickey tells Elliott he needs more time. He just got the case in his hands 24 hours ago, but since Trevor is the client, he gets the final say and Mickey is forced to give in. Later on, Mickey finds out that Jerry was hooking up with his assistant, and when he goes to talk to her, the lady says Jerry found a magic bullet and Mickey doesn't know what that means. Mickey then discovers that his vehicle has been bugged this whole time. Episode 3. Momentum. Mickey has been overwhelmed with the amount of cases he has been given in the past week, and another one, Eli Wims, just popped up on his desk as well. Mickey believes that Eli's case could be directly related to Jerry's murder. Outside of the courthouse, Griggs shows Mickey CCTV footage that shows a man leaving Jerry's building the night of the killing, and he may be their guy. Cisco also finds his own footage that shows the same man handing Jerry some paperwork at a casino one night, and he also learns that Jerry's investigator, Bruce Carlin, recently disappeared without a trace, probably because he knew someone was after him and fled town. Back to Eli's case, he is a war veteran the police think just snapped one night, and after 90 rounds of ammunition going off inside his home, he was eventually arrested. Mickey has a hunch Eli's case is connected to Trevor's. Speaking of Trevor, Mickey goes to talk to him some more, and Mickey asks him about the gunshot residue that was on his clothes and hands and why it took 5 minutes after discovering the bodies for Trevor to dial 911. Trevor said he went to see if Laura was still alive and thinks the gunshot residue contaminated him as well. Very conveniently, the security cameras were also shut off around the time of the murder when Trevor found Laura and her yoga instructor dead. Mickey is calling BS and tells Trevor this can't work if he isn't 100% honest with him. If Trevor lies in court, the prosecutor will know and will go at him with everything they have. To end the episode, Mickey starts comparing Eli Wims and Trevor Elliott's cases together, and he realizes that the Wims case is the magic bullet Jerry's assistant was talking about, and both arrests were made on the same day. To close it out, Mickey is followed by an assailant into his office. Episode 4. Chaos Theory. Detective Griggs shows up at the office and looks to have scared the intruder away for now. Griggs informs Mickey the assailant was a test to Mickey to prove that he is innocent and doesn't have anything to do with Jerry's murder. Griggs then gives Mickey the 411 that Jerry was in contact with someone in the FBI, and his killer must have thought he was a snitch. Griggs wants to use Mickey as bait by pretending to be a rat, but Mickey is obviously uncomfortable with that plan. The next day, Jerry's investigator, Bruce, finds Mickey and tells him he has information about Trevor's case, but it must be in private, with no wires or cops. They set up a time later that night, but whenever Mickey gets to the spot, Bruce says someone beat them there, and they can no longer meet, and this is when Mickey finds another bug in his car, but this time decides to leave it there for their advantage and act like they didn't find it. Lorna does some researching and finds out that an old client of Jerry's, Wayne Banks, supposedly died from an overdose, but she can't find a death certificate anywhere, and the actual body was a John Doe, and Wayne Banks is actually still alive. Cisco starts tracking the last debit card linked to Banks, and when he sees it being used, he eventually finds Carlin using the debit card and follows him while calling the police. The next day, Mickey tells Eli that he got all of his charges dropped except for one discharge felony, and he will do 2 years at max, and while Eli didn't want to do any time because he says he did nothing wrong, he agrees to the deal. Mickey asks him if he knows Laura or Trevor, and he says no. The night of the incident, his wife kicked him out of the house, and he went to the hilltop to blow off steam and was shooting a few cans and drinking, but when he saw the lights, he blacked out. The cops have caught on to Bruce Carlin, and when they find him to arrest him for numerous charges, he steps out of his car and purposefully gets hit by another car and dies. Episode 5. 12 Lemmings in a Box. The episode opens with Mickey trying to guide Trevor on what to do in the courtroom, but Trevor just wants to act like he knows everything, and he is too cool to listen to his attorney. He doesn't even want a jury consultant, which is odd. He must trust Mickey heavily. Cisco gets some more dirt on the affair Laura was having, and apparently, the yoga instructor, John Rills, was sleeping with numerous of his yoga clients, and one of them was the husband of a big security firm run by Anton Shavar, who is rumored to have a shady past to say the least. So Cisco wonders if Laura wasn't even the target, and maybe John was and Laura was just with him at the time. John even filed a restraining order against Anton weeks before his death. The next day comes the jury selection process, and Mickey wants to do it alone, but Trevor insists he be a part of it and won't take no for an answer. Mickey knows how big first impressions are and doesn't want Trevor to give off a bad vibe. Cisco was poking around at too many holes when he questioned Anton's wife, Nima, so Anton pays him a visit and tells him to leave his family alone or it will be the last thing he does. And when he leaves, we see Cisco was recording the whole conversation. He wanted that interaction to happen. That night, Griggs goes to talk to Mickey and shows Mickey that hundreds of thousands of dollars were missing from Jerry's account that day that he can't account for. Griggs thinks that Jerry made a special delivery the same day he took out all of that money and thinks he may have used it as a bribe. But who would he bribe? And why? Episode 6. Bent. Mickey starts to wonder if the money that Jerry could have used for a bribe might be connected with a judge or one of the jurors for the Trevor Elliott case. It makes sense as to why Trevor was so adamant about being present for jury selection. Mickey warns Cisco and Lorna to be careful with this information as they could end up dead if it gets out. Lorna wants to look into Judge Stanton's credibility to see if it is possible he would take a bribe as he is the judge for the trial. Mickey also is starting to have feelings for his second ex-wife Maggie, who is also a prosecutor, and Mickey helps her with a case to see if there is anything missing that a defense lawyer would notice. In the morning, Cisco tells Mickey that the money wasn't for a bribe to Judge Stanton at all, and he just took out a second mortgage on his home so he definitely didn't just receive $500,000 and also checked his bank logs and nothing remotely shows anything sketchy took place. Back at square one, Mickey heads over to Trevor's house where he accuses Trevor of paying the bribe to one of the jurors instead, and it turns out that Trevor did indeed bribe one of the jurors, juror number 7. Mickey wants to back out of the case, but Trevor says if he does that, then they both are going to end up dead. Jerry was the one that paid off the juror originally, and then when he filed for the continuance, that got him killed. Trevor tells him his company is funded by a Russian mob millionaire, Kozovich, and if Trevor's company goes under if he is convicted, bad things will happen to Mickey and his family. Trevor also thinks it may be the real reason that Laura was killed. Episode 7. Lemming number 7. This episode opens with Mickey and Cisco trying to learn everything they can about this bribe juror number 7. Mickey knows if Jerry got the continuance filed, it would have been a whole new jury, and he believes that is why Jerry was killed. It is time for the trial to begin and opening statements are made. Maggie is still struggling with some moral compass around her Soto case, but Mickey tells her she knows what she is doing and whatever she does is the right way. All she knows is she wants Soto to go to prison for life because the world is a better place with him behind bars, but doesn't know if she has enough evidence to prove it. Back to the Elliott trial, the deputy and others that were first there on scene explain that Trevor showed no emotion whatsoever, but was adamant in telling them he didn't do it even when they weren't even asking. Of course, Mickey, being the boss lawyer he is, discredits them on cross-examine as they had guns pointed at Trevor the whole time he was handcuffed, so that is why he was saying he didn't do it. A little later in the trial, Mickey is directing attention to John Rills and telling the jury about the restraining order John had with Anton. Mickey then asks the head detective why they never pursued Anton, and the detective says they didn't know about any of that. Great police work, LAPD. Later that night, Cisco tells Mickey about all the information he was able to recover about this Russian businessman Kozovich, and yeah, he is no cat to mess with, and is a legit mob boss. Cisco tells Mickey they need to be extremely careful going forward with the case, and this juror number 7. The next day, Judge Stanton calls Mickey and the prosecutor into his chambers where he received an anonymous tip that juror number 7 has an arrest record and has been tampered with. The judge recommends a mistrial, but the two lawyers want to carry on with the trial and replace the crooked juror. Trevor is not too happy when he hears about this. Obviously, it was Mickey that gave the anonymous tip to help with his conscience during the trial. Episode 8. The Magic Bullet Redux. The episode begins with Mickey talking with an old friend who goes by the name Glory Days, and he wants to know if she can come to LA from Vegas to help him out with an old favor. Then we jump to the trial where one of Lara's friends, Sonia Patel, is called up to the witness stand. Sonia tells the jury how Trevor was controlling and didn't let Lara do anything with her friends, and they were supposed to meet the day of her death, but obviously Lara never made it. When Mickey cross-examines, he spins this on as Sonia holding a grudge against Trevor because he wouldn't hire her for his company when she begged him for a job. The next witness is a forensic technician that says the amount of gun residue on Trevor was alarming and he looked like he had been rolling in it, which shocks Mickey. This does damage to Mickey's pride because Trevor looks super guilty right about now, but Mickey continues to think of a connection between Eli Wims and Trevor Elliott the day of their arrests. Mickey goes to the casino location and thinks he has found the missing piece. The person that videotaped the arrests, Muniz, is the next to be called into court. Muniz confirms that the same police car that was used for Eli's arrest was also used to arrest Trevor, as it wasn't cleaned out the night prior due to a damaged tail light and needed to be fixed by the mechanic. So when Eli got into the car after shooting 90 rounds of ammunition, there was gunshot residue all over the back seat, and since it never got cleaned, that explains how Trevor had gunshot residue all over him by transference. With the scales falling in Mickey's direction now, Anton Shavar is the next to be called to the stand. Anton gets angry about the questions that Mickey asks, and it's easy to tell this dude has some anger management issues. Trevor has to ruin all the good vibes going when he tells Mickey he wants to testify, which Mickey is highly against because he thinks they already have the win in the bag. Trevor doesn't just want to be not guilty. He wants to be innocent in the court of public opinion as well. Episode 9. The Uncanny Valley. Mickey is still trying to convince Trevor to not testify, but he's adamant he does. The prosecutor is probably begging for this to happen as it's his only chance to win. Back in court, the prosecutor, Golantz, offers to settle with Trevor and he won't serve any time, but Trevor declines the offer and he wants to take the stand. When he gets up there, He says how much he loves Laura and that he knew about the affair with John and he himself was also cheating on her, so it makes no sense as to why he would kill her over something he was doing as well. Gollance goes hard at Trevor when it's his turn and really tips the scale back to an even matchup when Trevor's testimony is filled with plot holes and inconsistencies, and the gun that killed Laura and John was also the same gun that is featured in his most recent video game he created. During closing statements, Gollance goes with this theory, and Mickey still throws the blame onto Anton. During jury deliberation, Cisco finds some interesting information and tells Mickey that the whole story Trevor told him about the Russian businessman is a complete fabrication, and if it isn't the Russians that have been following Mickey, who could it be? The jury then gives Trevor a not guilty verdict. Maggie gets really risky and goes to interview the man she wants to put away, Soto, wearing a wire, and as he finds this out, he starts choking her, but luckily LAPD rush onto the scene to arrest him before he kills her. Mickey then goes to Trevor's house where he tells Trevor that he knows Laura is the one that wrote the code for the game he took credit for, and when he found out Laura was going to leave his company for a rival and take her coding with her, he killed her for it. It wasn't about cheating at all. Trevor used his drone to take his bloody clothes after the murder and throw them in the ocean and still look like he never left after calling 911. Trevor pretty much admits to it, but says nothing they can do about it now thanks to Double Jeopardy. But Mickey is still confused who killed Jerry, and Trevor says he doesn't really care now. He's a free man. The episode ends with Mickey being called saying Izzy had a DUI, and she needs him to come pick her up, and when he gets there, a man appears and knocks him out cold. Episode 10. The Brass Verdict. Season finale. Mickey gets into a fight with this man named McSweeney, and then Griggs shows up at the right time and saves Mickey, and McSweeney falls off of a cliff to his death. Griggs tells Mickey McSweeney was the 7th juror that was paid off, and he was actually paid by Trevor to kill Laura and John, but Trevor went through with it himself. Mickey tells Griggs all the truth about Trevor, but Griggs knows there's not much that can be done to fix it now. Trevor Elliott then hosts an event for the release of his next video game, and a woman, Carol Dubois, shows up and shoots him 3 times, resulting in his death. Carol Dubois was the wife of the cheating yoga instructor, and she wanted revenge for Trevor killing her unfaithful husband. Something happens with Maggie's main witness on the Soto case, and she doesn't really have anything to go off, which causes her to be upset, and she tells Mickey that she doesn't think they have a chance to be together again. Right after declaring Soto not guilty in court, an AUSA storms into the courtroom and arrests Soto on human trafficking and conspiracy, so at least he might go down for that. Mickey then discovers that the judge who first assigned all of Jerry's cases to him was the one that had Jerry killed and has been the one having people tail Mickey all season long. When he confronts her, she tells him she will end him if anything gets out, but the feds wiretapped Mickey during the interview, and she is going to go down too. Dirty cops and judges everywhere. The season ends with Mickey back on the beach surfing, but a man wearing all black in the background is staring at him from afar. And that is it for Season 1 of Lincoln Lawyer. We'll continue with the other seasons in the following videos, so I hope you can check those out as well. Thanks for watching.